Hey everyone, today I'm going to be teaching you how to calibrate a profile on the original DS or a DS Lite for Gen 5 RNG manipulation. This is something that you need to do before you do any RNG at all. It's just figuring out a bunch of unique variables that your system and game combination have. So, for example, this copy of White 2, I could figure out my profile and my game parameters on this console, but if I unplug this White 2 and put it into my DS Lite, that profile would not work. I would have to calibrate again. So this just kind of gives you an idea of how this works. There are three main methods to figure out your profile parameters. There is the IV search, which is the old method, and there is the needle search with the save method and needle search using UNovaLink method. The needle search using UNovaLink is exclusive to Black and White 2. And the other methods are you can do in either Black and White 1 or Black and White 2. The first one I'm going to be covering is the saving method. All you need to do the saving method for your profile calibration is to be saved in a place where there's no NPCs that move randomly. Luckily, in both games, your bedroom is this place. It doesn't matter that they're totally different towns, and the rooms are completely different. They just both happen to be completely noiseless. So the best way to do this is to just go to your bedroom in either game. And luckily, you can do that at literally any point of the game, even just the start of your game. So the first thing we're going to do is calibrate the save in Black and White 2 using the saving method. Now, out of game, you're going to need Eon Timer. I use 3.0. I recommend all of you do as well. Make sure the calibration is set to -9.5 and the target second is set to 30. Click the settings cog and the timer button and make sure the console is set to NDS. You're also going to need Pokefinder by Admiral Fish. You're going to open up the Profile Calibrator. It's under the Gen 5 Tools tab. And you're going to click Needle Search, and you're going to make sure that the saving button is clicked. For date and time, you can pick literally whatever date and time that you want. I'm going to be setting this to 1/1/2021:00. Keep in mind, this is a 24-hour clock. So, I get this. It'll go to like 23 or whatever. Oh, I guess I can't go down. But it'll go all the way to 23. So I just think easiest set to 0. Over here, make sure your seconds minimum is set to 15 and your maximum is set to 45. Don't touch any of the other values. If you have memory linked on, you do want to check that box. Set your game version. I'm on White 2. Set your language. Set your DS original/light. That's what I'm on. And set your MAC address. Your MAC address, you need to figure out by going into your game settings, which I will do now. So before you load your save file, they're down here under Nintendo WFC settings. Click Options, System Information, and there's your MAC address. I'll paste it there. All right. Now at this point, you're actually all ready to go. So you just want to make sure you set your DS to the same date, and you want to change the time to what you set as well, so -00. Then you're going to start your Eon timer at the same time as you start your, as you hit A to confirm your DS clock. Now you're just going to hit A when Eon timer finishes counting down. So after you hit A to load your game up, do not press any buttons until the Game Freak logo appears. It's the one that is the shooting star. So this one. After that, you can mash through the game. If you have the C gear, it's very important to make sure the C gear is off. My game doesn't actually even have the C gear yet. So at this point, just bring up the start menu and go to save. Now, what you're looking for is, I'll show you here, right up here where my mouse cursor is. There's going to be a little spinning thing that just kind of confirms that you're saving. That block, the first position that the needle is in on it, you're going to want to record by pushing the corresponding arrow in the profile calibrator. So you'll see here. So that was upright. And you want to do this about 8 times. Left. Left. Now, as you can see, this takes a while, but it is extremely useful because you can do this before completing the game, which was kind of hard to do before. Oops. Doesn't matter that I moved. Or I should say it shouldn't matter. We have 7 now. We'll do one more. Down. And hit search. So as you can see, we only got one result. So the only pieces of this result that matter are the seconds and the timer 0. So the timer 0 is the value you're going to record down in your notepad. So I hit 10F6 and I hit it once. Then the seconds, you just want to make sure it's what the seconds you've written down in EonTimer. So as you can see here, I did hit 30 seconds and I was aiming for 30 seconds. However, if you hit a different seconds, if you hit, let's say 29 or 31, you would type the second that you hit in the second hit box and then you would hit update. I didn't do that, so I'm just going to go back to -9.5. In addition to this, if the seconds value here is off wildly, let's say you had another value that said 43 there, right? And it's probably not that. You probably did something wrong. Maybe you input a needle wrong or something like that. Because the DS Original and the DS Lite are extremely consistent in regards to their seconds, to the point where I would be shocked if you were ever even 1 second off. Like, that's how consistent it is. Now, in regards to your timer 0, what is this value and do we need to record it more than once? Well, the answer is yes, and I will show you that. So, the timer 0 is the only real value here that is going to fluctuate, and it's going to fluctuate kind of random. And what you want to do, and we're just going to do another attempt, is record this enough times to be sure that you're going to be able to hit the same one more than a few times. So you're likely going to end up with like a range of seeds is what I'll call it. Or a range of timer 0s, rather. And it's going to be, you're going to probably hit a few of them and they'll all look very similar, and you'll see. So, for example, I hit 10-0 F6 here. There's a high likelihood, if I recall the calibration on this game properly, I hit 10-0 F3, 10-0 F4, and 10-0 F5. They're all timer 0s that I hit. So just gonna give it again. See, the arrow is different, which already means I've got a different timer 0. No. Oh. right? Down. Left. And we'll need one more. So as you can see, I got two values here. So this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So a few things to keep in mind. I don't have the old values here anymore, but if you'll notice, the one that says 30 seconds, 82, 10-0 F3, GX stat 6, VFrame 8, and the C doesn't matter. These values, with the exception of the timer 0, are all exactly the same as my 10-0 F6 result. That is a huge indicator that this is the timer 0 that I hit. In addition to that, this one is 43 seconds. So think about that. We used a timer to try and hit exactly 30 seconds after saving this date and time. This means we would have been 13 seconds late. That's just incomprehensible. It's not possible. So just by process of elimination, this is the timer 0 that I hit. And as you can see, it's totally different. Or not totally different, it's just a little bit different. But that's kind of the nature of black and white too. And so in comes a bit of the bad news. So in black and white 1, you're probably going to only have 2 timer 0s. You're going to want to do this 5 or 6 times, this exact method that I'm doing right now. In black and white 2, you're going to want to do this 20-ish times, 25 times, because you want to get this to a point where, okay, I hit, 10-0 F3 3 times or 4 times or 5 times, and this one 2 times. So you're much more likely to hit 10-0 F3, and therefore this is the one you should make your profile of. It just varies so wildly in black and white 2 that you need to do more testing. Black and white 1, you're probably going to only have 1 or 2 timer 0 values, and it will be very, very consistent. However, luckily, black and white 2 seems to have the fastest method for doing any of this, and that is UNovaLink, which I will cover next. So, the key system is very, very similar to, or the UNovaLink, sorry, we use the key system within UNovaLink, is very, very similar to what we just did with the saving calibration. In fact, you're going to continue to stay on the needle search here, except you're going to click UNovaLink instead. We're going to clear those. Everything else you can do the same. And just so you understand where we're going to go, and nothing else needs to be any different than what I explained in the saving portion already. So for those of you who haven't watched the saving portion, I will do a quick rundown. So in-game, the only thing you need to do is have access to UNovaLink, which everyone does immediately at the start of the game. I'm not actually even sure if you need a save file in order to do this. So make sure you're in the needle search tab of Profile Calibrator. Make sure you're in UNovaLink a button, and make sure you set the date and time to whatever you want. I'm just setting it to 1/1/2021 with 0 as the hours and minutes. The seconds set to 15 through 45, and don't touch any of these other settings. And then make sure your game settings are what game you're playing. I'm on White 2, on an English copy, on a DS original. The MAC address you get by going into Nintendo Wi-Fi connection settings here, and clicking Options, and System Information, and then you can type your MAC address out. In addition to that, if you have done memory link, make sure that you have that checked off on this box here. And last but not least, make sure your Eon timer is set to 30 seconds with a calibration of -9.5. So in UNovaLink, where we're going to be going is to the key system. So go to UNovaLink, go to key system, and click send and receive keys. Now on the top screen, where is it? On the top screen right about here, when you hit send and receive keys, a little save spinner will appear after you hit yes. Right. Oops. And what you want to do is record the save spinner needle's first position on that. It's simple as that. And now we can just do the same exact thing we did last time. And luckily, You can use the same date and time method, the same Eon Timer settings, everything like that. So make sure your date is set to what it's supposed to be in here, and make sure your time is set to that as well. You're going to start Eon Timer at the same time you start your, you confirm your clock. Now, you're going to want to wait until the clock counts down to hit the A button. And when the clock finishes counting down and you hit the A button to load the game up, make sure to not touch any buttons or hold any buttons or anything like that. Just tap A to launch your game, and you're going to wait until the Game Freak logo appears. So as you can see, I'm holding no buttons here. Can't see that, but don't do it. And then when this logo appears, it is safe to hit a button and continue past on. And you're just going to want to kind of swiftly go to the key system. The Nova link, key system, send and receive keys. So that was up right, right, down right, upright, and you want to do about 8 of these. Down left. Now, as you can see, the advantage to this over the saving method is that it's really freaking fast. Saving takes a good bit of time, whereas this does not. This takes almost no time. So search. And as you can see, we got another result, and it's another different timer 0. So, as I talked about in the saving method, what you want to do is record all of the timer 0 values that you're hitting. And you're going to want to do this until one emerges as the most common timer 0. And I will show this method off one more time, just in case. So I've already done 2 calibrations with the saving method. And as you can see, I've gotten a different timer 0 every single time. So that just kind of shows you the stability of Black and White 2, which is not very. It is a not very stable game in regards to the timer 0 values. Now, as I discussed previously, the seconds value on a DS Original and a DS Lite are very consistent. If you get anything more than 1 second off from the 30 seconds that you're aiming for, which is what you're aiming for on Eon Timer, then you know something has gone wrong. In addition to that, the timer 0 value will fluctuate, but it usually will only fluctuate a little bit. As you can see, all of the timer 0s I've hit so far are 10-0-F and then a different number at the end. Ooh, I didn't even see what that was. I actually just wasn't looking. I gotta redo it. So, as I was saying, the timer 0 value in these games is going to fluctuate a lot. There's not much you can do about it. It's just kind of it's the only way to combat it is to do enough tests and figure out which timer 0 you hit the most. And once you figure out which timer 0 you hit the most, you're going to make that one your profile. And another nice thing is that you can use multiple different methods to calibrate. goes upright. Right? Could be down, right? Yep. Upright again. I don't remember what it was after this. So we probably hit 10-0 F2 again because I recognize this needle pattern. Is it up left, maybe? Oh, up. Right. And search. As you can see, we hit the same exact seed as last time. So that means we record another one for 10-0 F2, who is now in the lead as the most common timer 0 that I've hit so far. And that is the key system Unova-Link searching method. The last one I will show you is the IV searching method. All right, so the final method to calibrate your settings is going to be the wild Pokemon encounter method. Now, the wild Pokemon encounter method is pretty easy. It's a lot slower, but I'm just going to show it for posterity's sake. It's actually what my old videos cover. And so what you're going to need is a Pokemon with Sweet Scent. So I've got a Moongus here. Foongus and a Moongus both learn this at level up, and I believe you can catch Foongus that just kind of know it. In addition to that, you're going to want some rare candies, and you're going to want a quick way to catch Pokemon. So I've got probably like 20 rare candies and a few Master Balls. 2 Master Balls, I think, I want to say. Yeah, 2 Master Balls. In addition, you're going to want to save in a completely noiseless area. I'll be using Giant Chasm for my example. You want the area to have no moving NPCs, and you want the Pokemon in the area to be pretty high level. As you can see in Giant Chasm in this game, the Pokemon are like in their high 40s. In Black and White 2, they're even higher level. They're like 50s, I want to say. Yeah, 46. Now, in the Profile Calibrator, in the IV search section, you want to set the date and time to 1/1/2021 and 00 as your time. You're going to want to set the seconds min to 15 and the max to 45. The version to whatever you're playing, the language to English, and the DS that you're playing on. In addition, you're going to need the MAC address, which you get by going into your DS Wi-Fi settings. And if you've got the memory link, make sure to check this box. I think I do actually have it. Can you even check if you've got... Ooh, whoops. That's not what I want. I believe you can check if you've got memory link. Oh, I gotta go through the intro again. Yeah, so I do have memory link done. As you can see that I've done some of the lists. There you go. So if you've got memory link done, check that box. Now the way that you find out what your MAC address is you're going to go into the Wi-Fi connection settings. Options, system information, and there's your MAC address. So just put it here. There you go. Also, for EonTimer, you're going to want to make sure that it is set to target seconds 30 with calibration -9.5. The settings cog, you want to make sure it's on the NDS setting. Other than that, we're good to go. So we're going to go into the date and time and set into the date and time that we put in the IV search settings. So make sure your date's there, 1/1/2021. The time, 0000. Then you're going to start EonTimer at the same time as you start your, you confirm your DS clock. You're also going to want to make sure that you've not, once the timer counts down, you don't hit any buttons. So EonTimer is going to count down. You're going to hit A to launch the game, and then after that, you're going to make sure you hit no buttons. We're also going to make sure that our C gear is turned off. You can hit the buttons once this logo appears. Kind of just get through the intro quickly. Make sure to turn the C gear off. And load the game and immediately bring up the start menu. Go here. We're going to go into Sweet Scent with Amoonguss and immediately encounter our Pokemon. Now, there's a few good things about doing this method versus the saving method in regards to you can very quickly tell which timer 0 you've hit because you'll be hitting the same Pokemon with the same level and the same gender. So species, level, gender will immediately be apparent. And again, the location is consistent across both games. It's just giant chasm, but that's pretty late into the game. And in general, I find the save spinner method easy. It's okay to use your Master Ball on these Pokemon because you will not be keeping them. So we're going to check its summary. And we're going to go into Pokefinder's IV calculator. So IV search is looking for the IVs here. So click open IV calculator. And let me show that. So we'll put the IV calculator down here. So going to do Piloswine. Characteristic, loves to eat. We don't know the hidden power, the nature is jolly. So it is level 44. Now you don't need to 100% know the exact IVs, but you do need to know, I believe, a pretty good range, and I just tend to like going to exact IVs. So as you can see, I don't know them exactly, but if we add a row, we can add level 45. So what we do by that is go into our bag and give it some of these rare candies. So type the stats in again. 6, 101, 80, 53, 68, 61. We can find IVs again. So as you can see, it gets reduced a little sooner. You just want to do this until you figure out what the IVs are. Now, luckily, doing it level by level like this really speeds up. It does require more candies, which sucks, but it does speed up how quickly you'll be able to figure it out. Normally, you would have to get it basically to either 50 on the dot or exactly 100, and maybe even give it some EVs in order to figure out its exact IVs, but by calculating it level by level, it's actually able to deduce everything. See, there you go. 4 rare candies and it's already done. So let's type these IVs in. But by doing level by level, it's actually able to deduce thing much quicker. And I think that putting in the exact IVs is always the best bet you're going to want to have here. And then going to hit search. So as you can see here, I've got 10-0-F2 again as my timer 0. And I will do this again one more time with you all, just so that you can see. Now, even for Black and White 2, the amount of times that I've done this, and I've done this across multiple different methods, which doesn't really matter, but, you know. This is still nowhere near enough times to confirm that 10-0-F2 is going to be my timer 0. We're going to Sweet Scent right away. So as you can see, we've gotten a completely different Pokemon. So right off the bat, we know that we didn't hit the same timer 0. Just because it's a completely different Pokemon. Which is nice that we can find that info out, like, immediately. So let's check out what's going on with this Clefairy. So, I'm going to go into the IV calculator and do everything again. So it is highly curious. It's also jolly, which is weird. And we can just do the stats again. So 44, same level, also weird. 46, not super weird considering, you know, it's an area where all the Pokemon are going to be similar levels. In a row. So we find IVs for... 46, 56, 63, 66, 49, invalid. Oh, that's why I hit. It's because I hit add row first, and then I hit find IVs. It's fine. So we're going to give it some rare candies now and figure out its exact IVs. Six, 47, 58, 64, 8. Gotta do it a little bit more. Almost there. 7, 31, 49, 60, 7, 8, 5. Gotta go again. See, this is why I recommend more rare candies than just like a few, because a Clefairy is a Pokemon who is clearly not wanting to cooperate. And this is why this method is also very slow. You need to pump a lot of rare candies in. However, I think this could be worth doing if you're having trouble seeing these save spinners or whatever they are. The timing, I think, is pretty lenient, but... I see. The timing, I think, is pretty lenient. But some people may have difficulty with it. 64, 65. So these just aren't going down. Ooh, oops. I don't know what. Oh no. So these aren't going down, and here's the thing. I could keep pumping rare candies into this, but it would take a long time. So what I can do instead is just take the results that have ranges and input them. So 18, attack minimum is 4, defense is 22, special attack's 30, defense is 10, and speed minimum is 22. Then they're all the same, except, again, attack maximum is 5, 2, 30, 10, 23. Now, this is a small enough range to where it's okay to do the search this way. I click search, and we find one. So we find 10-0 F3, which is a timer 0 we know that we can hit, and the seconds value is the correct one. So this is definitely what we hit. So we hit 10-0 F3 twice. And there you have it. That is every single way to calibrate in Pokemon Black and White 1 and Black and White 2. I did this entire example in Black and White 2 because this is the game with more timer zeros. The amount of calibrations I did here in Black and White 1, you'd already be done. You'd have hit 2 different timer zeros, and one of them you would have hit 5 times, and the other one you would have hit once. It's really that simple. If you aren't finding that any single timer 0 pulls massively ahead, then you just have to kind of bank on the 50-50. Sometimes 50-50 luck happens. What I'm going to do is off screen, I'm going to calibrate. Actually, I don't even need to leave here. I'll just use the Unova link method to calibrate a huge number of times, and we'll figure out what my timer 0 is that way. And I'll show you just how many times I have to do this. Oops. So I'll see you at the end of the video. So, as you can see here at the very end, I have a clear winner of 10-0 F2 as the timer 0 that I hit. I hit it 11 times compared to all the other ones, which I hit 3, 4, or 5 times. Now, this means that when I'm aiming for a Pokemon, I could randomly hit one of the other timer 0s, which is unfortunate, and it's why I don't really like Black and White 2 RNG as much as I like Black and White 1, just because it's less consistent because of luck. But once we have figured out what our most prominent timer 0 is, what we do is in the Profile Calibrator, right-click and click Create Profile. And then a little Create Profile window will pop up. Like this. And what you're going to do is give it a good old name and some other stuff. So we'll call it White 2 Fat because it's on my DS Fat. I can increase this window size a little bit. A little skinny there. This White 2 has a memory link. Leave everything else here. Key presses any is exactly what you want, actually. Don't do skip LR, soft reset, or shiny charm if you have it. And if you know your trainer ID and your secret ID, then you put those in there. I don't remember what mine are. And then once you've created a profile, you're all set to do some Gen 5 RNG manipulation. Ooh. Get you at. So I hope this video was helpful. I know it was really long, but I wanted to just be exhaustive with my methodology. And thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down below, or join our Discord and go to the hashtag Gen 5 RNG channel. Yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you next time.